If you're having problems finding resources in Grounded, there is a scanner that reveals the location pretty much of any resource you've already collected. This was in the original game, but in Grounded 2 it doesn't necessarily tell you very well that you've unlocked it. You basically need to follow more of the story beats before it's active. So I'm going to give you a guide to that and then show you some of the most sought after resources that you guys have been asking about. Find this useful, let me know, give me a like, and let's go. So keep progressing the story until eventually you get a quest to build 2 spike strips. Make sure you're pretty ready for this. You may want to consider making sure your base is enclosed, or you're just somewhere high where you can't actually be attacked very easily. You'll get an attack of all creatures, defeat them, and then that pretty much will go and unlock the analyzer once you go back and talk to Sloan. It's not the worst raid, but I would still say it's probably a challenge for new players, having a variance of all these orc creatures come and attack you. You see 3 ant soldiers, an orc weaver, and a few spiderlings too. There's a bug at the moment that if you don't defeat them, or if they kill you, players are reporting that they're not respawning and you're kind of stuck on progression. So make sure you save the game before you put the actual defences down, and then that way you can reload if that happens to you. The spiky strips are made out of thistle, sap, and obviously rope, so they're not too hard to find. The thistle flowers are purple, again just like the returning ones in Grounded 1. Once defeated, like I said, go to Sloan, and again, doesn't directly tell you that it's unlocked, but I promise it should be unlocked after you've done this event. Now when you look at your map, you'll notice there's a resource finder up top where there wasn't before. And just a little FYI for people that maybe don't realise this, or new players, the scanner will find bug parts and stuff, but some bug parts are going to be in egg sacs. That's what you can get a lot of tier 1 resources, especially bug parts. They're really good for farming. However, some bugs that you just want to find because they've got something more rare or just to kill them, then you need to make sure you find their exclusive part. So bombardier beetles, for example, you can find lots of bombardier beetle parts in lots of egg sacs. But it's boiling gland, that's something more unique. So you will need to kill a bombardier beetle first, get both of them resources from it, and then make sure you search every resource that you get from each creature. Otherwise it will show you web sac locations sometimes and not the actual bug. And that is the same with some resources. Things like berry chunks, it will show you where berries are, but it does also, I do believe, show you where some chunks might be as well. This is really noticeable with the lingonberries. It only shows 2 locations for them, but they're literally everywhere in the northwest hedges. But yeah, I think it's worth pointing that out. Okay, on to the most requested resources to find, and these are going to be natural ones and stuff. I have got another guide for ingots and things to craft special weapons. If you've been wanting to get hold of Thatch roofs, you need to find the milk thistle plant. There's only maybe 2 or 3 locations, one in the north and one in the southeast where you'll find these. You don't chop them down, instead you go ahead and shoot the pods off. You can then hack away at it with your Omniant tool, but it does need to be upgraded to the axe tier 2. I'm not sure how often they respawn, but yeah, you'll have to check them over and over again if you're doing a big build where you're going to be requiring a lot of the thatch roofing. You can see you're picking up a combination of milkweed chunks and the milkweed tufts. The tufts can be put inside a grinder and then you'll get even more of the actual milkweed chunks out of it. So here it is on the actual map, right on this dotted line between 2 segments just in front of the picnic table. And then by the ice car all the way in the southeast you'll find another 2 locations for it. And this is the thatch that it makes. You will need weed stems as well, and it costs either 1 or 2 milkweed chunks to go ahead and make a roof piece. There might be other uses for some of the stuff, so obviously yeah, mark it out on locations to go back. But obviously once you've got the scanner unlocked, this all becomes a lot easier. Just remember though, I think you do need to go ahead and scan them at the resource analyzers at the ranger stations for them to show up on the map scanner. Next up, one of the hardest ones, but not if you're following the story, is blueberries. They are the first lot you'll come across, is actually probably the picnic table if you follow the story. Otherwise, the best place to get the most blueberries in one spot is all the way to the southeast again of the map, south of the actual cart, right up against the border. We'll show you the map flat in a second. Be warned though, if you do come over to this grove, you will more than likely maybe have a orc attack basically triggering if you've gone to a certain point in the story. So you might want to come here early. Remember, blueberries are still tier 1. Again, just knock them out with a stone, an arrow, or any other kind of ranged weapon or hit, and then you can go ahead and chop them with your tier 1 axe. There are a couple other places, but these tend to be more, I think, chunks rather than necessarily loads of them. You can see there's one in the ceremony grid as well as the statue grid all the way to the east side of the map. And weirdly, you may not even see them on the picnic table as they weren't shown up on the scanner, but obviously I know there's lots there. But for sure, your best bet is going to be this place to get as many as you can in one go. So make sure you bring a buggy to carry even more. And then when it comes to the picnic table, you just need to climb all the way to the top of it. It is challenging. You'll have to go across a few times, fight against maybe all weavers and a bunch of cockroaches if you aggro them. You're guided here relatively early in the story after the first few quests. And you will notice that you can go ahead and pick up some of these pine needle bundles, which will need a tier 2 axe to go ahead and harvest. Now there's lots of other locations you'll find these needle bundles, but again, in terms of coming up here for 2 resources while completing the story, you may want to see if you can get your axe upgraded to level 2 first. And of course, if you want lots more pine needles, they'll be all over the pine tree zone area, all the way in the northwest. So there's a couple places you can go underneath the picnic blanket, so make sure you're at the very top of the picnic table rather than the actual underside or one of the benches, and then you'll see the blueberry chunks. Maybe they don't show on the resource analyzer because you literally have to bash them first and then go ahead and harvest them. As you can see, they're not actually loose, you do need to knock them off first. And for new players or returning ones, don't forget, put these on a drying rack as you get a 1-for-1 ratio of leather back instead of crafting at the crafting bench where you'll need 3 pieces of chunks to craft just 1 piece of leather. And if you're looking for lingonberries, they are in the pine area all the way to the northwest. But yeah, anywhere past the actual hot dog stand in the hedges, you'll find loads of them in there. Again, you can shoot them off or hit them off with a rock, arrows or whatever, and then you still need a tier 2 axe to go ahead and harvest them. Now, this one feels pretty obvious, but there are a ton of acorn tops all around the starting area just here. And again, weirdly, it doesn't show that there's more acorn tops all the way to the north, so maybe it's a bit of a bug at the moment. And of course, you'll get lots of acorn pieces in that direction as well. They're obviously near the acorn tree itself, the oak tree, but you will find a few caves that have got a ton of them inside as well. Maybe the squirrels have been putting them away. And I want to say that's pretty much it in terms of resources. Yes, there's lots more I could be pointing out to you, but you get the idea now. With the resource scanner, you should be able to find the rest yourself. Although I will point out the short I did showing grass seeds. Somehow, if you're still struggling after a few hours in the game, look up these special blades of grass with these flowers or seeds on them. That's grass seeds. It's definitely changed from the original. They never looked like that, and actually grass was really useless. But you need it as it's a crucial part of getting your tool upgrade, especially in the early game. So chop down them stems, you'll get 1 or 2 seeds, drop from them, and there you go. I'm going to do a location guide for certain bugs though, because some of them you may not be able to find, like the wolf spider. Generally you'll find one always though in the southwest corner amongst some of the plants, the orchid plants that you may have faced off against when you fought the mantis in Grounded 1. But I don't want to make this video too long going over some of that stuff when you really maybe just want them key resources, as they're going to help a lot in progression. I more than likely will do a full resource guide in the future, especially for people that are still struggling, but like I said, you should be okay now you've got the scanner, and I will be back with a guide showing how to get hold of certain candy goblets that you can make special weapons with in future. Laters, ratbags.